Hey y'all, what's up? This is Rosie, and I want to talk about why we all criticize the generations that came after us. But before we get into it, I want to invite y'all to follow me on my socials. You can go to my bio and click the links on there because I do have them listed, or I will put the Linktree link in the description so you can go there and see all my socials. Just follow me. I'll be glad to have you. But let's get into it. So, every generation is criticized. I pointed this out where one of the first of my Gen X videos I did, we were called the slacker generation. Because the boomers called us all slackers, despite the fact that we got up at around maybe 5 a.m., sometimes before our parents did, and we got ready for school. A lot of times we fixed breakfast for our siblings and ourselves. We helped them get dressed, we got ourselves dressed, and then we had to get out the door in time to catch the bus or for our parents to take us to school before 7:30, so that we could do everything we needed to do before school, before class started. And then a lot of times, just like me, I got a job as a teenager. A lot of us had jobs as teenagers. And we had these jobs so that we could save money for the next school year. We could buy our own school clothes, our own shoes. If there are some new Jordans out that we wanted, we could save for those, and it didn't take very long. And if we wanted to go out with our friends to the mall, we had our own money. We didn't have to wait on our parents to give us an allowance. We had our own money that we could take to the mall. Or, just something frivolous like snack foods or fast foods, we could buy it ourselves. So there was nothing slackery about us. We had jobs. We had to help take care of our siblings if we had any. I didn't have to take care of mine because my brother lived with his mom and I lived with my mom. So, but yeah, we weren't slackers. We were far from being lazy, or we were apathetic. Yeah, a lot of us, we were apathetic about a lot of what was going on, but we were not lazy. We were not slackers. And then I used to watch where the millennials and the boomers were fighting with each other, calling each other names, and then suddenly everybody starts in on us, the Gen X generation. We were just quiet, and we weren't saying nothing to nobody, and we were just minding our own business. And then the Gen X crowd started getting silly. Gen X rise, we ride at dawn. Where are we going? Where do we meet? What are we doing? Who are we going after? Why do we rise? I'm staying sitting down because I'm staying out of it. But and then it's like a lot of my generation are criticizing Gen Z. Why are you criticizing your kids? Why? So I'm confused about that, because it's like my kids are Gen Z, so I'm not gonna criticize my own children. And honestly, if you stop and you pay attention, Gen Z are the new us in a lot of ways. They are leading the fight for rights and for injustices, fighting against injustices. They're not being whiners, they're not being snowflakes, they are actually speaking up. They're doing marches and they're organizing things, they're speaking out on TikTok, they're watching the news, and they are keeping current on information. As a matter of fact, I don't even watch the news because as of right now, since December, I don't have a television. So I watch TikTok and I watch Philip DeFranco on YouTube. He's a millennial. I watch Philip DeFranco on YouTube for all my news updates to stay up to date on what's going on in the world and around the country. and that's how I stay informed. But I'm not going to criticize a bunch of younger people who are basically doing what they can to make sure everybody stays current on what's going on. And they're leading the charge on a lot of stuff. And they're speaking out when it needs to be spoken out on. So, I mean, go Gen Z. But why do we always have to criticize the generations that came after? Because Gen Alpha. I'm not going to criticize Gen Alpha, the grandbabies, basically. I don't have grandchildren yet. But anyway, I'm not going to criticize them because they're being raised by parents who let them get away with a lot. And what I see on TikTok and stuff, it disturbs me. Like the Gen Alphas, the babies, using like they are doing self-care at 6 years old. They're using skin cleansers and skin toners and skin creams and serums that they get from Sephora, that their parents get them, really. And they are getting skincare for Christmas and for Easter and other holidays. And I'm just wondering, why can't the babies be babies? Why do they have to get screens when they're a year old, 2 years old? They're not going to remember that. And then I notice a lot more being told about they're taking play areas away from restaurants like McDonald's and putting screens with 2 sad little chairs for kids to play on. When there used to be a whole play area outside, there used to be a playground outside of McDonald's. And there's no more color, there's no more life. It's like everything is being toned down and muted and cubed. I'll put some pictures in the video so you know what I'm talking about when I say cubed. But there's no shape, there's no color. It's all just lifeless and sepia toned, really. And we all grew up with color. Our parents gave us color. I gave my kids color. And I'm just hoping that my kids stay colorized and do the same for their children, should they have any, or their animals, if that's the way they're going to go, if I have grand dogs and grand cats. But I just don't see the use in criticizing the younger generations when we should be doing all we can to help them, to echo their voices, to make them louder, to uplift them and make them feel stronger, because this world is getting uglier and scarier and harder to control and harder to navigate. So we need to help them with what they are doing, because they can't do it on their own. They're trying hard, and they're succeeding in a lot of ways. But if we try to hold them back by calling them names and arguing about shit that doesn't matter, like what they drink or what they try to drink or what they do or where they go, and we are not the same, that none of that shit matters. It doesn't. Until we get this world back on track, get our economy back in working order, and get our democracy back, none of that shit really matters. Leave them alone and uplift them, because we all have to be in this together, or we're all gonna be screwed. As a matter of fact, as of right now, we all are screwed. But yeah, every generation is criticized, and at what point does it stop? at what point is enough enough. That's all I've got for you this week. You guys, tell me what you think in the comments. I would love to know what you think. As usual, there are donations links in the description. You will find my PayPal, Cash App, and GoFundMe. If you would consider clicking on those and helping me out, you would be helping us out more than you could ever possibly realize. Helps keep food on the table. It helps keep the power going, the lights on. For as long as we have them, if Canada doesn't take it away. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's scary. Anyway, and I thank you for it in advance. A wise man once said, you have to build your tribe one person at a time, no matter what generation you are from. I would be so glad to have you. So click the subscribe button to be a part of the tribe. And yeah, thank y'all so much for wasting time with me. I love y'all so much for that. Hope to see y'all on the next upload. Bye for now.